now.
Welcome to the show today. It's Friday, May the 18th, 2018. I'm Terry Combs with Equipment Zone, and you can also find me over at terrycombs.com.
And I am Eric Campbell, standing in today for Aaron Montgomery. You can find me at Deco Network and ericcampbell.com. And today we're going to welcome in Jay Busselle into the show. Jay is going to be giving us a preview of his marketing presentation, the upcoming DTG Academy at Equipment Zone's New Jersey location.
Yeah, awesome. Well, hey, as a news item, and it's not very newsworthy, it's more of a shout out, but I wanted to thank Peter Danico with Poppy Digital Artistry in St. Louis. He printed up some samples, provided me with lots of pictures and detailed information for an article on large format sublimation printing. That's right, Aaron, if you're listening. I just did a large format sublimation cover article for Impressions. And I know that's kind of your gig, but you weren't here, so there you go.
Hey, you don't catch him sleeping, man. Terry will write you right out of the corner.
That's right.
Right.
I got this covered.
No, you got all of it covered. It's like I said before. We were doing the little decorators in cars with cookies. If we would have had a problem with the car that day and not come back, then there'd been a lot of magazines sorely looking for content.
Right. How many
all
did
the writers
you
were in there
for?
Yeah, right. How many did I still have ready to go? And was I probably late on? Sorry.
I just submitted an article last night, as a matter of fact. So
I should have.
Well, I figured if I don't do it now, it's not happening. Since as you and I were talking about before the show, I'm going to be doing the writer in a cabin in the woods at 4:00 today. I'm when my workday ends, I'm hopping in my car and driving to Pine, Arizona. I've rented a cabin for 6 days, and I'm going to try to get this second novel of mine done. And with no interruptions, I should be able to do it, except for the occasional deer or possibly bear outside of my cabin.
That is somewhat of an interruption. Yeah, that might cause some trouble with the writing process.
And Eric, I know I asked you, but our listeners also, maybe they could have some input. But I'm imagining that there's nothing that could go wrong. So a writer in a cabin in the woods, right? There's no storyline there of mishap or.
Never. No, nothing with intrigue ever starts with a lone cabin in the woods of the writer. That's never happened at all. So obviously you're perfectly safe.
I feel that way as well.
All right. Well, everybody, as usual, stay tuned for the end of the show, because at the end of the show, we always do It's 5 Things. These 5 things today are coming from Jay, and he's going to hang with us at the end of the show, do 5 most popular promo items according to ASI. That is awesome information to have. Promo stuff has a lot of power, and I know we're going to get to talk a little promo chat today. I'm going to leak that now because I'm a big promo chat fan and a participator. So, definitely hang around for those 5 things that is important information you need.
Awesome. Well, hey, thanks to everyone for listening and for watching on Facebook. We're always pleased to bring you this weekly show. We've been on the air since February 2013. This is our 6th season. I know, crazy, huh? We always try to avoid the rants and lecturing, and we would love for you to visit our webpage. It's 2 regularguys.com. And Aaron and I were just talking the other day, how many people type in 2 regular guys.
The literal folks.
Make sure you check out the show notes. Anytime we mention on the show that if somebody mentions their website or linked any information, it's always up on the 2regularguys.com site. We're always looking for suggestions for the show, and you can contact us through our Contact Us page, and we're all over social media at 2 regular guys. If you're catching this live video via Facebook, make sure that you comment and throw questions up for us or for Jay. And on the podcast version of the show, by the way, we'll right now be hearing a word from our sponsor, Specialty Graphic Imaging Association, SGIA.
Yeah, those folks are doing great stuff. I'm going to take a little pause here. We're going to leave him a little break so you can edit that in. Right now, I'm doing the video running, and I don't have all the gear Aaron's got. So if there's a little trouble, a little slow up on the comments stuff, you can blame me for it.
All right. Well, Eric, are you ready to bring in our guest?
Absolutely. Let's bring in Jay. All right.
Oh, perfect. I normally edit down the bios that people send us, but I love Jay's presentation so much that I'm gonna read it all. So
do it.
Jay Busselle began his screen printing and graphics career, reportedly sometime in the 80s, in Mr. Perry's graphics class at East High School. Jay started printing unofficial replica. I've never heard that term, unofficial replica. We're not a cover band. We're of his favorite surfing, skiing, and skateboarding companies, as well as a few bands which will remain nameless. It didn't take long before he was working for a screen printer, and soon thereafter, his family owned promotional advertising agency. It's been over 25 years, and Jay is still hanging out with promo peeps and apparel geeks, pretending to grow up. Jay is the founder of a weekly Twitter chat called Promo Chat, and has been ranked as high as number 13 on the Stitches Power 75 list. He is the recipient of 2 Reggie Awards for industry excellence. Jay is a highly rated industry presenter and accomplished trainer, but is most proud of his 6 children. Yes, 6 children. He so if there's any interruptions in the background, I guess we'll know what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He knows what was causing it, and it's not going to happen anymore. Jay's favorite title is CTO, Chief Taco Officer. Welcome to the show, Jay.
Wow, we got to edit that down, Terry.
No,
that was epic.
It's all gold, man.
It's all gold.
It's fun. It's fun. You guys know me, so you know half of that's, well, it's all true, but it's, yeah. Well, I'm glad to be here. Thank you, Terry. It's good to see you, Eric. You look mighty fine. Not that Aaron doesn't, but it's good to mix it up.
You know, Jay, I was thinking about you. I was at the NBM show in Portland, and a guy walked up to the booth, and his shirt said, "Who needs a taco? This guy."
Yeah.
And you're the first guy I thought of.
It's true. I was in a bacon phase for a few years. Some of my friends and family know that I peaked too early on the bacon phase and then came down. And so the last 3 years, I'm all in. I'm all in on tacos. I'm all about fitness taco in my mouth. That's what
I knew that was coming. I saw it from a mile away too.
Yeah, I know.
Still, I tried to just let it go,
Hard.
Come on, but the taco gifts are strong though. All you peeps know the taco gifts are strong.
Not that many great gifts left, so I'm almost to the point of developing.
Yeah, so, really, we need to get on that.
My son Mike, who just was recently married, he has a great shirt he wears all the time. It's a burrito, if you want to switch to burritos, and it's got a smiling cat head sticking out of the end, and it just says burrito.
Yeah.
No, taco cat for life, folks.
That's right. That's right. Don't forget it.
Come on. All right, so we'll actually get to something that people probably trying to listen for.
Right.
I mean, come on, taco jokes are great, but
tacos. I mean, it's only 8:00 here in Arizona, right, Terry?
8:09, man. It's taco time.
Taco time.
Hey, it's 9 here. I'm 1 hour closer to tacos than you guys, so it's all good. All right, so Jay, we're talking about long-term life of customers today. So let's talk to our listeners about how you put it, the value of a customer for life, that long-term value.
It's great. Thanks for the question. I was thinking about this in just kind of the preparation, and we've all talked about this topic, so it's not like it's groundbreaking. But I think in the beginning or early in your business, when you're thinking about how am I going to make this work? How is this all going to work? We're kind of hyper focused on the orders, which is good. You should be, but we're not really taking into consideration the value of the customer for the life. So our goal should not just be, I got to get that order. I got to get that order. The goal should be, what can I do to get it to find and keep clients? And so it shifts your thinking away from, a 12-piece order, a 1-piece order, a 1,000-piece order, which is kind of the details. And that's important. You got to manage those. But I think you need to pull back and think about, I need X number of clients. And then if you work backwards from that perspective and say, what's the value of these clients? What is the net profit of this client for me? And if I can track that, which by the way, you should be tracking that, then you know how many clients you need to go find. And there's been a lot of research on this. And I got to give a shout out. I think it's ASI, and forgive me if it's not. I don't know the exact numbers, but a couple of years ago, they did the average value net profit per customer per year. Because people often ask me, well, I want to make $100,000 at this, Terry. Is that possible? Or I want to make $1 million. Well, I'll say, we'll talk to Terry. He's the only guy I know that's ever done that. So in this industry. So, okay, I'm
That's a
exaggerating,
lot of
but you know what I
t-shirts,
meant.
man.
That's a
A
lot of
lot of
t-shirts.
t-shirts.
But my point is that they're focused on what amount of money they're going to make, and they're not focused on the lifetime value of a customer. And so, if ASI is correct, their average is between $1,000 and $3,000 per year is the average net profit. Now, obviously, that's a wide range, but let's take the lower number and let's say, okay, if the net profit, the value of a customer in a year is worth $1,000 to me, then how many customers can I manage and maintain? And then how many of those should I keep? And how many of those should I say, see ya, because they're either not worth that $1,000 or they're paying me slow or late? So whatever the reason, some of our customers that are the bottom of that group, they are continually nickel and diming us. And so we might want to say goodbye. So focusing on the value of the customer, focusing on the lifetime value of the customer rather than just this one order. I can't wait to get this order done and then go get that fat check and then, yay, I made it. Well, you didn't really make it because another screen printer or another embroiderer or another sign maker or another promotional products company or an agency can slip right in there and say, guess what? We'll do that for 5 cents less. And so you didn't really keep the customer. And that's the point.
It's something that I know I've talked about a lot, and I know you and I personally, because we've talked together a lot about this stuff. It's You talk about value of the customer over life, but you also have to talk about value of the relationship. It's why relationship marketing is such a buzzword now, because if you're going to have a customer for life, relationship is the key to that. But invariably, people are looking for, you're right, they're looking for that individual score, and they don't think what's the long term, both the long term for their business and the long term for the relationship with the customer, and it makes a big difference.
Well, and it's certainly much easier to maintain a customer than to go out and constantly getting new customers.
100% agree, Terry. And keeping those customers is the lifeblood of your business. So the only way you can do that is, to Eric's point, is to really truly have built equity, and that equity is the relationship. And so you're going to mess up. There's going to be mistakes. So you should go in this with eyes wide open and tell your customer, listen, if everything goes well, I never want you to leave my shop ever, ever. Literally, as long as I'm in business and as long as I can help you stay in business, we're going to be together. And that's my goal. And talk about that and just say, hey, you don't have to invite me to your wedding. I don't need to know your kids' birthdays. But if I did, and if you do, then that's the tightness. That's where I hope this goes, so that we can hang out and have more than a transactional business relationship.
Well, and that's something else about it when you talk about becoming an expert in your subject. I always tell people, you need to you don't want to be a commodity. It's like you said, everybody, there's always another shop who will say 7 cents less per impression. There's always a shop. There's always somebody who will undercut you. So price isn't the way to go with this stuff.
Nope.
And if you don't want to be a commodity, you want to be a consultant. And I mean, honestly, I say consultant because that's the way that people feel comfortable if they're not emotional people like I know I am. What I really mean is you want to care about them and be their friend a little bit and be their friend in the business. And like you said, it doesn't mean that, you're at every graduation for their kids, but it does mean that you actually care about what they're doing in business and about their order.
I have to, I'm smiling because when you mentioned consultant, I worked with a company once where we had a business advisor, and he would always say, because they would talk about hiring a consultant. He goes, you know what a consultant is? That's just a guy between jobs.
There might be some truth to that.
There might be some truth to that.
But and a reminder to all our listeners, Jay is doing giving us a preview of his marketing presentation that he's going to be doing at the DTG Academy at Equipment Zone, June 2nd and 3rd in New Jersey. And this is the compressed version of that, because I think you're going about 3 hours, right?
If you say so.
Yeah, that's right. I did the schedule, by gosh. So yeah.
Nice.
All right. Well, let's talk about unique value position. Jay, tell us about that.
Well, it's a buzzword. Obviously, we live in a marketing world, so you hear these unique value propositions, which was an advanced version of unique selling. So if you've heard of USP, S is in Sam, S is in sales, S is in solutions, then you've heard of UVP, V is in Victor, V is in value. So the definition really is what is your value position? What is that point where you can distinguish yourself as a provider of maximum value. I like to think of it this way. What makes you different? And so, this is a perfect segue from what Eric just said about, commodity or consultant. So in this case, you're on the consultant side for sure, because you're going to lead with what helps you stand out and make you different. Now, obviously, screen printing or embroidery or promotional product advertising, sign making, whatever. It doesn't matter the equipment that you have. That could be a factor. But what I'm talking about is what makes you truly rare in your local area. So if we draw the proverbial circle of 20 miles, 25 miles, 100 miles, however big your circle is, what is going to make you special in that area? What are your value points? What are your qualities? What are the activities that you make or take? What are your characteristics? What are the services that are going to help define you so that someone can actually say, this is why I want to do business with Terry. This is why I want to choose Eric. These are the things. He's capable of X, Y, and Z. And at the top of this list, I'm just telling you, this is a given, but at the same time, I can't believe how often this is blown. Number one at the top of the list of what makes you special, or your UVP, where your value is, you have to deliver on time. You just have to. This is an event-driven, promotional-based business. And with that, many of the things that we do for our customers are in terms of a day. There's a day to celebrate, commemorate. It's important is one word, but critical would be better, because if you can't meet the delivery date, if you can't be on time, nothing else is going to matter. You're not going to keep that customer. So then you can come down to, maybe you're capable of printing less than traditional minimums. Maybe because you're a local business, you can support other local businesses in a better way than, say, a internet-based company. You could have things like, because we're local, we're convenient, and you could come over for that one-stop shop. You can even take a tour of my factory or my shop. You can get to know my shop dog, Farley. All of these things that add up to what make you special. Because here's the thing. The hardest question to answer, and it's scary, but it's what you need to wrestle with if you're listening to the show and you're a business owner. The hardest thing you need to answer is this one question: why should a customer buy from me? And if you can't answer it, who are you hoping can? Because is the customer supposed to guess? I mean, you literally have to write this stuff down and say, there are other screen printers, there are other promotional product resellers, there are other pad printers and sign makers and trophy shops. So what am I going to tell someone? Because that's really what they want to know, is why should I buy from you? And that's what your unique value position, or UVP, is.
Jay, I think that there's probably nothing more that a customer remembers than if the product was delivered on time. It's just
yep.
And that's so critically important. And the other side of that is, in today's society, that window is much smaller than it used to be. It was easy 10 years ago to say, okay, it'll be ready in 2 weeks. If you said that to a customer today, they'd be like, okay, I'm going down the street.
Yeah.
What I always want to tell people, it's like, if you've ever been to the grocery store and you see that sad candy in the basket after Valentine's Day, don't make your order sad candy, people. You know how much it's worth right after that?
Half off.
I'm embarrassed to say that I always go to the grocery store the day after Valentine's Day, the day after Christmas. And
well, I'll say this: T-shirts and polos taste way worse, so it's just not really as good.
It sounds like he's spoken from a point of knowledge.
A little candy bowl. I still have Reese's Easter eggs that I bought for 75% off. So.
We don't want to run a 75% off business, though, people. Be on time and deliver. And also, we always forget that what we're in the process of doing when we're decorating for folks is we're making things that are they're heirlooms, right? They're heirlooms. A lot of these things, especially if they're events, they're personal. It's something that's really important to somebody. And you didn't mess up a shirt order. You ruined someone's graduation. You didn't mess up a shirt order. You ruined someone's bachelorette party. It's not what you think. It means a lot.
When we talk on this show, and we do it often, about niche markets, several years ago, I worked with a company that we sold to fraternities and sororities, and we didn't sell the tackle 12 Sigma Nu. We sold for parties and events, and And man, if the party's Friday night, delivering it the following Monday is not going to cut it. That's a refused order, and it's not as critical for some folks as others. But as I mentioned before, they will still always remember that, hey, it was a day late, it was 2 days late. So
it's the same argument for quality too. The thing I tell people, once again, same thing with that unique proposition, even when you're talking about things like your personality and your shop dog and what have you, or shop cat, as it were, I'm sure my wife would like to make me say. I know, cats, that's me.
Had a
Like
shop
cats.
fish.
Shop fish. Hey, whatever it is. That's character. The thing is,
really.
you should. I had a big tropical fish place in my first decorating thing. We had a giant tropical fish.
Wow.
Set up. It was crazy. But here's the thing. The experience that you give is also part of how you price. That's your value isn't just will people stay with you at all. It's what can you charge. And part of that, believe it or not, is even just being personable. It's just certainly be on time, have high quality, give good suggestions, but it is about being personal in relationships too. That's also how you can charge. People who tell me I can't charge that, I'm like, I have my whole career in a depressed economy. Why not?
That's like saying I can't make a profit.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then don't do this.
Yeah,
I know all three of us.
I can't charge prices like that. It's like, wait, what?
I know all three of us have talked to this person at a trade show. Well, in my town, you can't get that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I live in a really small town. Okay.
There's a guy 3 doors down that's getting it. You just don't realize what value you have that you're selling. So. But
it's true. It's true. Yeah. Well, before we just go off, I know this is a favorite subject for all of us to talk about, especially unique value, and having a little bit more personability into what we do. Because honestly, we have some personalities here on the panel today. Nobody here isn't a little bit colorful.
True.
But there's also something to be said for a little bit of calculation, a little bit of planning. So, Jay, we know that you are the guy who has that plan on lock. Let's talk a little about decorators who just kind of roll the dice about what they're doing with marketing, and those who have plans for marketing campaigns.
That's yeah. Are we talking about one of your topics already? I may have blurred these lines, but I think you had said ABB. Is that one of your acronyms? Always be branding. Okay,
so you and I got on that one, yeah, on promo chat.
We have, and so I think that's really what we're talking about here. Is we're just talking about marketing suggestions. If you don't have a plan, you are rolling the dice. So I like what you said there, and so I think of it this way: is that great marketing doesn't just, you can't luck your way into this. You might be able to once, but then you're gonna have no idea or no perspective as to what you did right. So you just got lucky. So I think it's critical to think about this from a planned perspective, that this is something that I research. This is something that I consider. I consider my target audience. I factor in my budget. I define my desired outcome. I want to know all of this for me and my business, if I'm starting my own business as a business owner, clearly. And this is the part that I think is so funny, is you should be an expert at this because you've already done this for you. And so if I can't see those qualities in your screen printing company or in your decoration company or whatever company, if I can't see those qualities, then I'm immediately suspect of, well, how is that person going to help me? Right? So yeah, they might be able to pull the squeegee and have the right angle and they have the right tension and they're using the right mesh and, and they're pushing instead of pulling, or, there's all those, that's great. But at the end of the day, what I really need is I need a better brand. I need a better identity. Yeah. I need a plan. And so what I've learned to do is to break this down. And the reason I did this is when I had my own business, I realized that if I gave up control, then the first thing that the potential buyer, the prospect's going to ask me about, they're going to go right to product almost every time first, like 99 times out of 100, because that's the only thing they know. So they'll call me up and they'll say, hey, Jay, listen, I want to get some t-shirts. And you're like, okay, boom, there we go. We're right off to the shoot. We're going right down to the, T-shirt town with Terry. T-shirt town with Terry. There's a title for you.
It's a new show. You got to just spin that right off, man.
So I learned that if I gave up control at that point, which I believe probably 80% of the people that are tuned in today, and 80% of the shops that I've met, 80% of the business owners that I've worked with, they'll admit that yes, normally they'll go right down there to T-shirt town with their customer. They'll start talking about size, color, imprint locations and stuff like that. They're focused in on T-shirt town. So I learned to stop and say, okay, wait, whoa, Terry, we might go to T-shirt town, but wouldn't you want me to tell you if there was another product that was more effective than a T-shirt and possibly a lot less money than a T-shirt? Well, Terry's going to say, yeah. Okay, so before we go to T-shirt town, I need to back up. Before we select the product, which is step 5, I've got 4 other steps I want to talk to you about. And this is the planned marketing. This is me defining an objective. This is us talking about that objective. So are you announcing a new service? Are you going to a trade show or a conference? Is this for customer appreciation? Is this for employee appreciation? What is the purpose? What is the point? What is the objective for this particular event or promotion? And then we'll target that audience. And then we'll even talk about a theme. And that was one that I snuck in there because I realized that if I could add in my own little advantage, it was like my ace. It's like playing poker with 5 aces instead of 4 aces in the deck. And I've always got to keep that ace to my advantage. So by talking about a theme, I'm talking about the graphics. I'm talking about how am I going to execute the marketing and make that visual literacy happen so that when people see it, they get it. So no one ever talks about the theme. They want to talk about the T-shirt. They don't call up Terry and say, hey, Terry, I'm thinking about getting 100 shirts, but I don't have a theme. I was wondering if you could help me with a theme. So the reason that the theme is so important to me, if I'm the shop owner, if it's my shop, is that themes are what's going to really be the effective carrier of the message. And again, it's my ace. No one's talking about it. So one of the best questions I ever learned to ask people was, well, what's the theme of your event? And you just hear crickets. Just silence. Now, once in a really rare occasion, someone would say, oh, it's kind of a Sedona theme because we're going to Sedona, or it's kind of a Las Vegas theme because our sales conference is in Las Vegas. So they were able to kind of fall back on the cliche, which was still okay because I can either do 2 things, help them define the theme. Now I'm building a relationship. Now I'm showing my unique value proposition, right? Or I could say, great, well, that's awesome. You're one of those rare people who's planning ahead. I love that. So I want to be able to build on that theme with you. And then we're going to talk about the distribution. Like, how are people going to actually get these products? What do you see happening? How do you see that in your brain, in your mind? Because we want to make sure that the distribution is easy. When I say distribution, I mean literally delivering the product. Is it going to be handed out? Is it going to be shipped? Is it going to be, all of those factors play into this. And then step 5 is, Terry, now we're back to T-shirt town. Let's talk about this. What kind of T-shirt? And then we'll go into products and figure out the appropriate item, whether it is a T-shirt or whether it ends up being a tote bag, right? So that's what I mean by planning out your marketing and being strategic about it.
Okay, well, Jay, here's how my mind works. You're saying T-shirt town, and my wheels are turning, thinking as sung to the tune of CNC Music Factory, Funky Town.
Okay, I'm not going to sing. I'll tell you that right now. But thanks a lot. That's going to be rolling in my head for the rest of
your brain now, right?
Nobody needs this. Nobody needs the singing. Nobody needs it in their brain.
Way too early.
I know I mentioned it on this show before, but when someone says to me, I don't know, I just print T-shirts. That's all I do. I just, and I don't know how to compete with the 5 other printers, in my community, and because they just print T-shirts too. I always send them to Sandy Lake, Sandy with an I, Sandy Lake Apparel, Mel Lay, and say, look at her products and tell me what you see. And they're like, well, gosh, it's just a lot of one color prints and pretty basic stuff. And I said, and she's making tons of money because she doesn't just sell T-shirts. She sells Mel Lay. She sells Sandy Lake. She sells her brand. And so nobody that buys a T-shirt from her is buying a T-shirt. They're buying the Mel Lay story. So, I think it fits into this story. But Jay, you mentioned ABB. Well, I've heard you more than once talk about ABM.
Yeah.
What is that, and how do we do it every single day?
In our sea of acronyms, always be marketing, always be branding. Eric's version is always be branding. Same thing. It's exactly the same thing. So it's probably a ripoff of forgive me for forgetting the title of the movie, but was it the Glenn Ross leads? Are those the leads that we should
Something like
always be closing?
always be
So
closing.
yeah, so this is to always be branding, because before we can close anything, we have to get the message out. We have to be marketers. And so, especially for new business owners, but this is true for everybody. And I think business owners and that have been in business for 5, 6, 7, 8 years, they oftentimes start to not pay attention to this as much. So they wonder why they have these big swings or are really cyclical in their business. And I understand there might be some seasonality to every business, but that's why you should always be marketing ABM. So you can't wait for the phone to ring. You've got to make the phone ring. And I love that Seth Godin, one of my marketing heroes, a hero without a cape, he said that the cost of being wrong is less than the cost of doing nothing. So what I take away from that is I'd rather see somebody trying to do something, because even that's better than nothing. And by something, we mean marketing. Be proactive. And the number one way to be proactive is literally see more people. You have to talk to more people. You have to surround yourself with more opportunities. So as you talk to more people, you're going to talk to everyone. And you're not the annoying person that can't shut up. You just can't be bashful. You have to be proud of your business. You have to be proud of your method of decorations. You have to be proud of the things that you do and the solutions that you provide. And you're helping other local small businesses succeed. And there's a point of pride there. So tell people about that. Talk to everyone. If you're at a softball game, if it's appropriate and you're at a church function, as you're at a bank in line, talking to people at the teller, whatever it is, wherever it is, especially on a local level, talk to more people. Now, in the old days, we would write down a contact list, well, who do I know? But you can do that, but you could do more than that. So the point is, you're not trying to convince anybody of anything. You're trying to help people see you. So always be marketing. And it's sad that so many of the business owners I meet over the years at trade shows where I'm not a fan of their logo. I'm just going to be blunt and be honest. They had no thought to their identity, zero. They didn't even pay a professional graphic designer or a professional logo designer. They just whip something up, and so, and it shows. So, maybe you start there. Maybe it's time for a logo makeover. Maybe it's time for you to be in the logo makeover business. You can spot that a mile away. You've got enough experience. If you've built a relationship with someone, you can say, hey, Eric, I know you love tacos. I know you're all in on embroidery. I know you're a New Mexican chili freak, but I just got to tell you, I've seen better logos. I'd love to help you reinvent yourself, because think about it this way. Do our shops change? Has our business changed? Do we have new equipment this year that we didn't have maybe 8 years ago or 10 years ago? Of course. So we're changing as people. We evolve, we grow. Why wouldn't our business? So always be marketing, always be branding, however you want to position that. I meet a lot of successful people. I'll end on this. They set reasonable goals for themselves. They basically take with them 10 promotional items, whatever it is. And if you're a apparel decorator, it should be something that you've printed, okay, if possible, because it's more emotional that way. Take 10 of them with you. And every day, just say to yourself, I can't come home until I've passed out 10 of these. Okay?
Yeah.
If you are a promotional product person, I have a friend, Danny Rosen, who's in North Carolina, and he says he takes some of his high-end pens with him, especially when he goes to restaurants, and he has a pen exchange. He calls it the pen upgrade program. So every time a waiter or a waitress comes to take his order, he says, let me see that pen. He takes it because it's inevitably a really crummy, cheap pen, and he hands them a really nice pen. And he says, here, you can keep this, and if you want, you could give it away to someone at any time. That's always marketing. That's always branding your business. It's simple.
It's easy.
It's
easy.
It's really easy.
You don't even have to open the conversation with something like that. The conversation's already open. You just look for the place to put it. I'll say this. The way you always talk about, or you have been talking about people who kind of haven't put a lot of thought into their logos, the thing that always drives me crazy is I will be talking to an embroiderer or screen printer, usually talking to an embroiderer, and I look at them and they're not wearing one stitch.
Exactly. That's
they're not
my
wearing
point. Exactly.
One stitch. No logo is on them.
Promotion. It's like, I'm not today because I'm still in my jammies because you guys got me up early. So thank goodness, from the waist up, right? So we cannot fail to be ambassadors of what we do. So we need to be a product of the product. And yesterday
Yeah.
I got into a conversation with Charity Gibson, who also lives here locally in Arizona. And this was a big breakthrough moment for her because we've heard those words before, but be a
Yeah.
product of the product. You are an ambassador to apparel decoration. So if you're an embroiderer and you're not wearing, and please, let me just tell you, what is it, Eric? You know the stats better than I do. Is it 75% of embroidered polos are left chest logo? So do something a little different. Try to break the mold a little bit, please.
It's funny because we always, most of the trade shows I work on, I'm selling direct to garment printers, and we'll walk up to a competitor and go, "Hey, that's a really, really nice embroidered polo you're wearing." "Oh yeah, thank you." And then they'll see the irony of the fact that they're selling a direct to garment printer, but they're wearing an embroidered polo shirt. So
yeah, or they'll never see it, sadly.
Sadly enough, yeah. But yeah, building on what you were saying, Jay, I always tell people in our industry, people want to buy what we have to sell. So if you don't have customers, you're keeping your business a secret. Because if you just tell the person next to you in an elevator what you do, there's the possibility of writing an order. So
It's true. It's true.
100% agree, Terry.
Well, following on all of these kind of direct social integrations we're talking about, where we're actually getting out there and sharing products. And by the way, I still think nobody's saying this. I'm going to start talking about tech, but nobody forget that beating feet and actually getting out there is still very useful. Shaking hands is absolutely still there, because we're about to talk about social media. I want to jump in there. But before I even do, remember, folks, the key word in the phrase social media is social. And that starts directly in your community, especially if you've got a brick and mortar location. That's how you're working. So yeah, listen to the stuff Jay's saying here.
So my post of "Would you like to buy a T-shirt?" That's wrong, right? Is that
it
can work?
There's a place for it, but it can't be what you say every time, every day, and every post.
No, yeah. Let's go with that 80-20, 90-10. But before we get into that, I'm going to spoil everything. We're all going to use social media. I know that here we're all pretty big users. And what I'm going to say, I'm looking at our show notes, and I'm going to go, behind the curtain for everybody to see. I see that Aaron has written in a joke to make sure that I slag Terry off for not using his Twitter followers. I don't know if Aaron wrote that in or if Terry wrote that in. Somebody has decided, even you're not even here, Aaron, and you've managed to get it in there. Terry, just so you know, Aaron wants you to know and remember that you have 15,000 Twitter followers and have no idea what you're doing with them.
He doesn't know where they came from. He's not sure why he has them.
Okay, so
no, I like the people who say to me, "How did you get 15,000 followers?"
You're like, I don't know.
Because I'm clever and witty. That's my response.
I know
you are clever and witty.
He writes a little bit.
Why?
Just a little bit.
Tiny bit.
Okay. So on that note, we have Terry, we have me. We all know I jump around and just make a mess of myself on social media. But hey, what can you tell us about social media marketing that we probably don't know?
Well, I don't know if there's anything I can tell you that you don't already know, but I can hopefully emphasize some points that our listeners are probably lacking. First of all, they're scared. They keep asking me, "Well, why should I do it, and how does it work?" And I'm like, "You're invisible without it. How about that? You're it's like Terry just said. It's like you don't want people to know about you. You're hiding your business. Is that what you're trying to do? It's part of the, witness protection program in some way." So as you participate in social media, it's part of your always be branding. So it's just an offshoot. And if you do it well, it should be part of your unique value position, that you are accessible, that you are identifiable, that I can find you on multiple platforms, or at least the platforms that are probably going to resonate between us and our relationship. So let me first of all say, you don't have to be all places all the time. That's definitely not what I'm suggesting. And if we did a deeper analysis, we would try to identify who your core customers are, who are your best customers, your top 20%, and where are they? Wherever they are, that's where you need to be to help them, love them, and find more of them. Because there's probably some more customers just like them in that same platform. So if it's Facebook, great. If it's Twitter, great. If it's Instagram, thumbs up. If it's Snapchat, I doubt it, but it could be. Wherever it is, LinkedIn. I don't know too many people that are, killing it on Google Plus, if that even exists anymore. But so wherever you are. Now, to Terry's
I'm
point,
trying to focus on MySpace right now.
there it is. I knew it was going to come up. That was when you had the band, wasn't it, Terry?
That's right, from my band.
I'm going back to old school telegraph marketing.
Oh,
Stop.
boy. Okay.
That's what we're doing.
Turn it. So we were talking about ditching the pitch, and this is the problem: is that so many marketers aren't really marketing; they're selling, and that's a mistake. And it's even more obnoxious and obvious on social media. It's even more resented. It's even more rejected. So you have to resist the urge to pitch your product. You can occasionally sprinkle something in, but you will be rejected on every platform if you're constantly selling. And I was looking yesterday at a friend who I respect and have had a lot of great times with, and I was going through their Twitter feed with them, and I said, do you see any patterns here? And I'm not exaggerating. Their last 10 posts were all about buy my product or buy this product. That's it. Buy the product. And I'm like, how is that A, social? B, how does that showcase your talent? How does that make you special and rare? And how does it showcase that your brand is unique? How does it help build a relationship? And is there anyone else on this wide internet where I could find those same things? And so you can't compete on your pitch. It's rejected immediately. So that means you have to make yourself useful. You have to bring some value to the table. Your mindset on social media should be, what can I share? How can I educate? How can I give a tip or a suggestion? How can I answer a question that's a problem that my typical buyer struggles with? That's where you bring in value, because you've made yourself useful, because you've shared you in an insightful, genuine, authentic way. So when you're generous like that, social media is reciprocal. Other people will be generous back. So the more you refer and the more you share, the more you get back. And that is interesting to me, because you can play the role of curator very well if you're shy and you don't want to have this crazy personality where you're all about tacos, or you have a giant ridiculous mustache, or you're willing to be on every social network any time of day or night. You don't have to be. That's not you. You be you. But you could curate without being, with the spotlight on you, without having to feel like you have to be a public speaker. So play the curator role, and they will turn the favor. What does a curator do? It basically collects great info and shares it. And you do it in a thoughtful way, and you're responsive. You're there often, which means if you're on Facebook, be there often, few times a day. If you're a Twitter person, more than a few times a day, just because the feed is moving faster. But whatever it is, LinkedIn, any of them, be yourself and be consistent. You be you, be true to what you want your value points to be, and then be consistently there. There's nothing more obnoxious, really, is if you are saying how important you are and how great you are, and then I go check you out on any of the platforms and you're invisible. I'm like, there's a disconnect there. You're telling me how wonderful you are at advertising and marketing and screen printing and promotions and event marketing and all of that, and yet you haven't posted anything on Twitter since 2016. The last time you were on Facebook and posted anything of value was a year ago. Then you're not being generous, and you're not really marketing, and you're definitely not being consistent. So that means I can tell, and I'm going to go somewhere else. And that's the thing that I think scares people, is that there are a lot of options out there. So the more you can influence that potential buyer, that prospect, and build that relationship with them, then you get to share. And you can share your art, your craft. You can share your passions. And you start to build a tribe of people that also love tacos, or that also love the band Journey, or that also love sublimation, or that also love all over printing, or that also are freaks for embroidery, right? You start to build the tribe. And that's what you're after. So that's my thing. Ditch the pitch. Stop selling. Terry, I know you were joking, but no, do not tell me that you sell T-shirts at every post, because once a week would probably be enough.
I just tagged both you guys in a Twitter post while you were talking there, Jay.
There you go. There you go. Very nice. Not fair because I'm focused on this.
And
I
Same
turned
here.
off my phone
And
so
it
that I
had
can pay
nothing.
attention and
It
stay
had,
here.
I'm a multitask guy, but it had nothing to do with selling T-shirts.
I'm
But
trying to watch. I'm trying to watch the comments. I'm not doing a great job because Jay is so captivating. He's saying all the stuff. I'm just like, I'm nodding my head so hard. Whenever I have him on solo, you only see him in the camera. What you're not seeing in the background is I'm just nodding until my head's gonna fall off. Because I'm like, everybody needs to listen to everything that's being said. Oh gosh. What I will say is we do have Jeff Morgenthaler's on here, and he says, tacos. So I guess tacos are still working for him.
well, Jeff,
shout
wait a
out
minute.
to Jeff.
If I'm
Jeff,
here and you're here, who's selling?
Hey, this is social selling. It's working. And then we also have Aaron. Actually, Aaron is watching us to make sure he wants us to know he's keeping an eye on us from somewhere. So, and what he's asking is, how many followers is too many?
Oh,
I don't know
that's
if
a good
that's a
question.
thing.
I don't know
That's
if
a good
there's
question.
how many. If they're truly followers and if they're just following, then you could have too many. But if you have fans, if you have those that you engage with, um, yeah, it's going to continue to get difficult. So you can't just measure this in Twitter terms. How many fans are you on Facebook? So I know some businesses that are very, very successful businesses that have about 1,000 fans or followers on Facebook. Okay, and they're really, really big businesses. I know other small businesses, much smaller, that have 10,000 fans and followers. So the relationship is, did those are those genuine? Are they really building relationships with those people? And if that's the case, then I'm impressed. But you move past about 1,000 and it's really difficult to maintain all of those relationships. So you might need a virtual assistant, or you might need an intern, or you might need a social media marketing person that's sitting in your shop that's helping you manage all of this, helping you interact with those other influencers, helping you develop that mindset of sharing and curating. So if you have more than that, like Terry, we can't all be superstar rock stars and have 15,000 followers on Twitter. But we're not always going to measure our success on the number of followers either. So,
along those lines, and speaking of having an assistant or a team that's doing social media, I'm always posting about American Airlines. I fly American Airlines. Well, let's see, 5 times in the last 3 weeks, and every time I post at American Airlines, they respond, and it's not just a hey, thanks. It's a response that has something to do with what you said, and I don't know, hey, I know it's somebody sitting in an office somewhere just watching for American Airlines to pop up as a hashtag, but it makes you feel good, makes you feel kind of warm and fuzzy about that company as well. So
it does. That's a really good point. Someone's listening, someone cares. And I'll tell you what, you'll get faster service, or at least more attention through that channel than you would calling a 1-800 number and being on hold for 20 minutes.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So, well, Jay, in preparing for the show, you used a term, show me the magic. Why don't you talk to us a little bit about that?
Show me the magic is really a takeaway from that same discussion we were having earlier about self promotions. So show me your magic. Show me that secret sauce, that secret formula. If you were a direct to garment printer, you probably would want to show the quality, the resolution, the vibrancy of color, that photorealistic look, the hand, the feel. So show the magic. That's the evidence. That's the proof. It's not enough to go blah, 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 blah. I'm a screen printer. You have to bring out your skills. And this is a distinguishing factor of what might make you special, unique, and rare and bring value is it bugs me personally when people say, well, I provide amazing customer service. And I'm like, really? That's like the bare minimum. That's entry into our work, is that you are responsive and can provide customer service. But the reason I struggle with it is it doesn't define anything. It doesn't bring me proof or evidence to just say it. So how would I know that that's excellent customer service? How would I know that you provide that? Give me an example, or better yet, show me. So show me the magic means if I'm an embroiderer, show me something that you do that's rare and unique and awesome. If you're a promotional products person, show me, bring me a case history and explain the return on the investment. Walk me through how investing this $5,000 yielded that customer 20 new clients. Now you've got my attention. So now you've showed me the magic. So when you can show the magic, when you can share your secret sauce, you're building a relationship on proof, on evidence, not just on blah, 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 blah. So you move away from the marketing spin into truth, evidence, and proof. And so really that's all I meant by that is when you can say, hey, that could be demonstrated through self-promotions so that you're literally everywhere you go. And again, if you can kind of pick up on what I'm doing here, all of these link. They're like chains in a link, and it goes in a circle. So each of those chains is connected. Each of those links is connected. So if I'm showing you amazing magic in my self-promotion, then I'm always marketing. If it's showing my value proposition because I can, hit halftones like nobody else, or I'm the king of 4-color process printing, or I can source product like nobody's business. I can find the rare and the expensive and the unique. And here is the example. Here is the proof. That's the point I'm trying to make with, the magic. What's your magic? Share it with me.
Absolutely. I can't agree more that people need to get on that, especially with self-promotion, where it's like everybody who always says, I wish a customer would let me do that cool work. Don't wait for the customer to have you do the cool work. Do the cool work and share it. And then you'll be able to use that as your marketing proposition at all times. Well, before we get too far along, we're getting up toward the end of the hour here. We're probably going into bonus time, but I want to make sure you get a chance to talk about this. Jay, tell us about Promo Chat, because we got to know a little bit more.
Promo Chat, I'll be quick. So every week on Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern time, we have a Misfit reunion hour. We have we have our tribe of apparel geeks and promo freaks, or vice versa. You can interplay those, where we just chat. We literally go on Twitter, and there's a hashtag, Promo Chat, and but now I have some friends, I have some support. We'll come up with a topic. We'll typically have 5, 6, and sometimes 7 questions, and we'll talk about our industry. We'll talk about maybe we talk about the things we talked about today. It could be yesterday's topic was, I just blanked. What did we talk about yesterday? Help me out, Eric. I'm sitting here focused on marketing. So,
and I was watching it and not responding. And I don't recall either.
We'll talk about things like self promotions. We'll talk about things like, and it's more than just a distributor's role or a decorator's role. It's also the suppliers are involved. Like people like Sanmar are involved. Yeah. People like Maple Ridge Farms, people like Alpha Broder. There's some big players in there that are also tuned in and listening and contributing. So that's what's cool is you'll have access to some of those. It's not often that we get to talk to people from Jerseys or Fruit of the Loom. Well, if they're involved, and they have been, then you can chat with them on the Promo Chat. So we'll talk about marketing, we'll talk about sales, we'll talk about ideas, we'll talk about adding value, all of the things, decorating techniques. Mm-hmm. We've talked about, there's not a topic that we won't cover, even employee recognition or how to hire. Sometimes they're HR topics. So it's really a place. I just realized that chats were fun on Twitter. So I had participated in a few, and anytime you can get 50 people that are all chatting about the same topic, magic happens, good things happen. And unlike Facebook, it's not a long drawn out discussion. Unlike a podcast where I can only maybe catch 2 or 3 people, like in this case, this is where you could catch 30 or 40 or 50 really good ideas at one place, at one time, on one topic, and it's all in 280 characters or less. So it's short, it's concise, and I liked that. And so if you like the speed of moving quick, Promo Chat's a lot of fun.
Now, Promo Chat, honestly, having been somebody who gets in on Promo Chat frequently and likes to play around there, I cannot recommend enough people get on Promo Chat. You have access to incredible people with great ideas. I know the funny thing is I get in there and everybody's like, okay, here's embroidery stuff. Let's grab Eric in and make sure he's talking about the embroidery stuff. But I had to run my first trade show booth this year that I had to put together myself. And we had all these, there was a whole Promo Chat session on trade shows.
And yeah.
I was like, everybody who said, "Oh, Eric, you go there, it's so great you're sharing." I'm like, no, I am taking notes. There are people out there talking about stuff you need to hear. So
And that's
promo
the
chat,
other thing.
everyone's a big stop.
Thank you for the plug. I appreciate it. That's what I like about it is you have seasoned veterans in there. You have people that have been in the business for 25 years or more, and people have been in less than 25 days. But it's a
That's
great
awesome.
mix, and it's fun. And we keep it light. It's light. It's not intended to be deep. It's intended to be fun. So you'll know that my term is, let's jump in, let's get sassy, let's have fun.
It's awesome.
It's fun.
Well, thank you very much for sharing promo chat and starting it, because I mean, like I said, as a promo chat person, I can't thank you enough. It's just the best. It's the best time. It's a highlight of my week, and I know for a lot
What's
of
cool
the
too. Let
chatters,
me plug this. Thank you very much for saying that, Eric. You can go anytime you want. You can go into Twitter if you have a Twitter account, and you can go search for hashtag promo chat, and then you can click on top or click on latest. So either one, the latest is going to build it chronologically to everything that's got promo chat on it, and you can just start to feed down and check it out. Now, I've been lucky that Promo Kitchen, which is kind of a promotional products group of mentors, has really liked this idea and adopted this idea and kind of brought me into the club, if you will, which is crazy because any club that wants me as a member, you got to wonder. I think that's an old Charlie Chaplin joke somewhere in there, but anyway, it's a lot of fun, and it's not just fun because the value and the information and those that are contributing, 2 or 3 times they're going to be snarky and sassy and sarcastic and funny, but then they're going to drop a bomb of wisdom, and you're just going to go, "Whoa, that was so good!" And it's in one sentence, and it's like change your day kind of good, like that. Yeah. I got to write that down. I need to apply that. That's going to make a difference in my business.
Absolutely, every session it happens. Every single time.
It's like trade show seminars. I always tell people, when I started my business, I went to every seminar you could go to, and I always felt that if I learned one thing, it was worth my hour and a half I spent in that seminar. And the same with your promo chat, Jay. So that's awesome. And along those lines, Jay, where can people find you?
Oh, you can find me at socially on Twitter, obviously at Jay Busselle. So spell my name Busselle at Jay Busselle, and on Twitter, on LinkedIn. You can email me. I've got lots of projects cooking right now. I work mostly for Printa Systems. So you could email me, jay@printa.com. So you can find me at a trade show. You can find me on Two Regular Guys podcasts. Where else? That's probably the top, right? The podcast.
There you go.
Those are the tops, but I mean, wherever you find Jay, it's absolutely worth it every single time. So find this guy and listen to him. No, I'm not just buttering you up. This is people know. People who know, and they should know you. So if we can have you hang out for just a little bit, I would love to have you come back, do that 5 things at the end of the show, because I know you've got some gold for us.
Awesome. Got it. Right. Well, on our podcast version of the show, we're going to be hearing a word from our sponsor, Equipment Zone. And by the way, Equipment Zone has announced the DTG Academy that Jay will be one of the speakers at. It's a complete DTG business course. It's going to be June 2nd and 3rd. Speakers include myself and Jay, Dane Clement, and Matt Rome from Epson, and some folks from the support department at Equipment Zone as well. So looking forward to doing that. And I think you have an announcement about a coupon code.
We do indeed. Remember, we had a Marshall Atkinson on a while back talking about his recently released book, Price for Profit, and he's actually offering 30% off to Two Regular Guys listeners with a coupon code 2 Regular Guys Rock. That's 2 Regular Guys Rock with a 2. So that coupon code is going to be good until the end of the month. It expires June 1st. Still available right now.
All right, and it actually has an exclamation mark at the end. So 2 Guys Rock
exclamation mark. That is me. I'll make sure that gets in the comments, folks.
Exactly, and Aaron always says rock, so I always have to say no. It's singular. It's not.
No. At least we got you watching out for us, since I've now replicated the error. All right, 2 Regular Guys Rock with the exclamation point on it with the digit 2. I will make sure that gets in the Facebook comments, and we'll have it in the show notes.
Awesome. Hey, Eric, what kind of events do you have coming up?
Right now, honestly, we're a little low on events for the moment. My classes and stuff have been done, so what you're going to do is see me at like ericcampbell.com is usually where I'll share my stuff with Printware and Images UK, all the magazines I'm publishing in, and I'll be doing some webinars shortly, but nothing yet that I can announce. But yeah, there's always more coming. But if you need to find me, go to ericcampbell.com. If you need to contact me directly, the contact page there will get you right to me. And believe me, as my wife will attest, I will answer questions late into the night.
All right. Well, how about since Aaron isn't here, you want to talk a little bit about what he's got coming up?
Yeah, since I'm speaking for Aaron today, every Saturday morning, he's been putting out like a 15 to 30-minute live video session where he's talking about tips and tricks for small business. So this is his Small Business Saturdays. It's directly on his Facebook page, and these are just live videos that he does. They're fantastic. I like to check in on them. Even if you don't check on him live, go check out his page and go watch them after the fact. But he would love to do your comments, get on just the way we do here. So he gets in every Saturday, does that small business gig. And to get more of a discussion, he'll be starting at 15 minutes early this time around just to give everybody a chance to join. So get in, say good morning, get the party started, talk to Aaron. He's very willing to share everything as he does here. And he's really been pumping those out with, great consistency, which is something that Jay talked about. So really love for you guys to check out Aaron's Small Business Saturdays.
Awesome.
And, Terry, I know you've got a lot on your schedule always. You're flying everywhere. So what's on your upcoming schedule now?
I do indeed. June 2nd and 3rd, as I mentioned before, is the DTG Academy at Equipment Zone. Equipment Zone is the corporate office is just outside New York City. So you can find out about that class at equipmentzone.com. It is going to be a limited number of folks. So if you're looking at coming, you probably should get signed up right away. My complete screen printing business course with Atlas Screen Supply in Chicago is going to be June 9th and 10th. The Equipment Zone all-day Epson DTG class that we do free before all the NBM shows and most of the ISS shows. I'm going to be doing that on June 14th in Cleveland, Ohio. And my next complete screen printing business course in Phoenix will be at Workhorse Products on July 21st and 22nd. And all my events are at terrycombs.com under tour dates. And as I always point out to Aaron, and it's been updated. So
So he has been working on it. And also, guys, if you haven't gone to tubularguys.com, it's sporting a newer look if you haven't been there for a while. So really get up there, check it out. We've got a lot going on there, the show dates and what have you. So we actually have Jay. He is hanging out on the line to bring us the 5 things. So why don't we go ahead and bring him back on and get some of that wisdom?
let's do it.
All right, Jay. Long time no see, sir.
That was your window of time to get out of your pajamas, but whatever, man.
Run back. Coffee. Okay, so remind me of the format. Do I just shout them out?
Shout them out. Your 5 things. Give us your topic, and then tell us these 5 important things that you have.
Okay, so let me frame it this way. According to ASI and PPAI, 2 promotional product associations, they say that this promo pie is about $23.5 billion. That's how big the promo pie is. Now, there's a huge piece of that pie that's all things apparel. Okay, so that's a good chunk. Is our industries blend together like dysfunctional cousins at a family reunion? You have a big pie. So ASI is breaking it down this way. Number 1, top of the 23.5 billion. Number 1 category: t-shirts. T-shirts specifically. T-shirts meaning long sleeve, short sleeve, crew neck, V-neck, of every blend, style, and color. T-shirts is 12.5% of that $23.5 billion pie. Wow, right? T-shirts, number 1. Huge. Number 2, bags. Bags of every size, color, whether they're plastic, whether they're cotton, canvas, whatever textile, whatever. Bags is number 2, 9.9%. Number 3, drinkware of every kind, caliber, size, from ceramic mugs to Yeti tumblers, everything in between. Drinkware, plastic, metal, ceramic, doesn't matter. Drinkware. Number 3, 8.1%. Number 4 is pens and writing instruments. Pens, pencils, highlighters, stylus, combos. 8% of that $23.5 billion pie is pens and writing wear.
Anybody watching on Facebook, you're seeing my 2 regular guys pen that I'm holding up for the.
Ooh, I'm going to put you up on solo. Show that pen, sir. There we go. 2 guys pen is happening.
8% writing instruments. And then number 5 is sportswear. Sportswear would be like polos, golf type, placketed, collared, but not outerwear. So hoodies and jackets is not considered sportswear. That's its own category. It's in the top 10. That's for another day. So number 5, 8% sportswear.
Well, and here's a message for all of those garment decorators out there. Most folks who are in ad specialty promotional products don't do their own decorating, and they're always looking for good decorators. And it's a tough search because, as I've said here many times, there are lots and lots and lots of decorators. There aren't very many good decorators. So be a good decorator, and business will come to you.
And deliver on time.
Exactly.
Yeah, deliver on time. Well, thank you again for coming back with those 5 regular things. That was the 5 top promotional products as defined by ASI. So great to see that category kind of explained for all of us. And any of you apparel decorators, I know there's a lot of you out there, look at how much of that was apparel.
Yeah, the top 3 really, because you could say bags could be half of the bags, tote bags and stuff could be decorated.
Sure. Apparel and accessories, folks. So really get it. There is a market for you, it turns out. So get out there and do it. Well, thank you very much for being on, Jay, and I couldn't have enjoyed more having you on the show.
Thanks for having me, guys.
All right. Well, hey, thank you to our show producer and guest host, Eric Campbell, E-Rich is the rapper name.
There we go.
There it is. In bonus time. Eric's with Deco Network, and you can also find him at ericcampbell.com. I also like to thank our sponsors, the Specialty Graphic Imaging Association and Equipment Zone. We very much appreciate your support.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for helping us do what we get to do every week. And we can't wait to see all of you watchers and listeners back in again next week.
All right. Until then, he's Eric Campbell filling in for Aaron Montgomery. I'm Terry Combs, and we are the Two Regular Guys.